Welcome back to Profi Plays. I'm Profi, and we are picking up again with Shadowdark. Uh, Currently, Sage and company are in a dungeon, are kind of working their way through it. Remember, their goal at this point, uh, the Wizard Ophelia, or Sorceress Ophelia, I forget exactly the title that I gave her. In any case, she is very interested in getting a particular hammer that belonged to what was his name? It was like something with an L. Uh, Leos, that's it, Lios. Leos or Lios. I am sure that I pronounce it both ways. In any case, so she's very interested in this hammer, but what we have found is that those who have previously gone for the hammer have died in the process. So she knows that these people need some more training, some more experience. So she is sending them to do kind of these side quests where they're going to go and try to acquire treasure that is hopefully going to help them. And also the experience as well is going to help them. Now they have promised kind of pieces of the treasure. In effect, they're going to be tithing the treasure to a goblin lord by the name of Bree, as well as to the abbot at a particular abbey that our priest is from. Okay, so that is kind of where we are right now. Now we have gone into this dungeon. We were kind of wandering through it, and last time I was using the sandbox generator dungeon section, which I have printed out here is kind of a booklet format. I printed out those relevant pages. The problem that I ran into is that I don't want to do things as a grid, but that is very much the assumption that is kind of in the sandbox generator dungeon section is that you're going to be setting out specifically a multi-level mega dungeon using a grid. Yeah, and that is actually like the instructions specifically say, right, you should go get some graph paper, that kind of thing. But I don't want to do that. I want to do something more like point crawl based, which I think really captures the spirit of Shadowdark much more. Shadowdark tends to abstract distances a bit more, right? So having something like 5 foot squares feels weird in the Shadowdark system. I'm not going to do that. So I was trying, so I was in fact trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole, right? So let's take this grid combat and quite literally, again, like writing out the numbers and circles around them and connecting them and all of that. So I guess it's, yeah, square peg, build around square grids, right? Trying to fit into the round hole of the point-based dungeon crawl. Right, so I'm not going to do that anymore because I found I was pretty sure that this existed, but it's by the same author. I think it's Tellier Clandestin or something like that. I think that he's French. Okay. In any case, Tellier, a good American, also has this dungeon point crawl generator. Uh, a lot of it overlaps, and there are actually some things that I like significantly more about the dungeon point crawl generator. Just as a simple example, one thing that happened before was that we found that basically in the sandbox generator, every door is either stuck. Okay, here we go. Right, so the types of door. So it's either stuck, locked, a portcullis that you have to lift, right? Uh, or it's a magic door that you have to do something to try to open, right? So that every door is special in effect. But that is not necessarily the case. Some doors just exist, and you just have to open them, right? And that is something that is acknowledged, right, in this. And that is that there are times, in fact, a good chunk of the time, roughly half the time, you have a connection that doesn't actually require any kind of like opening a stuck door or anything like that. Now, it might be, maybe there, if I were to actually do this by grid, that I'd find out that there's the possibility of just say, I don't know, maybe not a door, but of like an archway or something like that, maybe. But I don't see that really in the sandbox generator. So I'm going to kind of combine these two because this dungeon point crawl generator, I did pay for it. It was like $2.50 or something like that. So it's fairly inexpensive, but it's also very short. It's like 16 pages total. But hey, it's nice. And a lot of the things in it uh, require some detail. For example, it does have, right, all these special rooms, and it has like a whole list of special rooms, which is very similar to the list in Sandbox Generator. I suspect that they're basically the same list, but the detailed descriptions are in the sandbox generator, not in the point crawl generator. So, going to be kind of combining the two, but mostly using the point crawl generator from here on out as we are exploring this dungeon. So, let's go ahead and hop in. So, at this point, where we are, I'm going to make some room here. So, we are exploring the dungeon. It looks something like this in terms of its overall structure. We've explored 9 rooms so far. We did backtrack a little bit because there was a dead end here. And right here was where we were when our torch went out, so we're going to have to light a new torch. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have Godfrey. Godfrey is our human thief. He has a torch available, so he's going to go ahead and light that torch. There we go. So now we have a torch for 10 rounds. Just going to put the timer here. See if I can remember to actually do the timer. All right. So after going through, and so we go back. So room 8 is where we are. Now we know that there's a sarcophagus here. We didn't find any treasure or anything like that as we scoured this room. So we're going to go back another room, right, into room 7. Now room 7 was the room out of time where we were kind of thrust into the past. And because this is a natural cave, we found out that this was carved out by water. So we were in effect drowning, except we managed to escape. Um, but the thing with the room out of time is that when you come back to it, it's just a normal room, right? So now it is just an empty space, I guess, since this is mostly a kind of a cavern sort of thing, right? So here we are. So we're going to go down this passageway. Now, I don't know if there's anything in this passageway or not, so I'm going to use the dungeon point crawl generator to determine what type of passage this is. Okay. All right, so I have here my D12 that I would roll. All we know is that it exists. Type 4 is that it's horizontal, no obstacle, right? So I'm thinking this is just kind of like a corridor, a tunnel, something. I mean, these are the tunnels of doom or something like that. Yeah, yeah, it's part of the tunnels of doom. So we're going in here, and I'm going to call this room number 10. Right there we are. Things we need to know about room number 10. First, how many links are there from this room? Okay, 6 means that there are 3 links. So we need to find their directions. Now, okay. So we start with 1 is north, so 1, 2, 3. So here's 1 link, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there's a link there that we previously had not noticed, apparently. Okay. So that is what that looks like. Other things we have to look for. So we have these various links. What else do we need to know? What type of room is this? So yeah, so what is the content? 5. This is a monster room. Cool. All right. So, it being a monster room, we want to check to see what kind of monster there is here, or at least what kind of creature there is. All right. So let's go ahead and roll that one. I have my card table. A 3 would be a peasant. All right. So we have a peasant in this room. Yeah. What's the peasant doing? So pull out my summary here. There we go for random encounters. Okay, activity. So what is the activity of this peasant? Pen. They're socializing or playing. Okay, so I'm guessing they're just kind of hanging out here. Now, we've previously decided that these peasants are kind of well adjusted to the darkness, right? So there's apparently some tribe that has moved down in here and has, developed reasonably good night vision. I also want to see, and what is their attitude toward us? Okay, so we had previously come across a peasant that was reasonably well, I guess, inclined toward us. Okay, we do have a charisma of +4, right? For Krogar, the half orc, right? So I guess he's the impressive one. 7 plus 4 gives us an 11. 11 indicates that this. Okay, so the peasant looks up at us. He's kind of curious why we're here. So the question is there any treasure in this room that would make it worth having some kind of confrontation with? 28, yes. So there is going to be treasure here. So no, what is the nature of this treasure? So let's see. Uh, treasure table says there's treasure here. It's number 46. Ooh, a jade and gold scarab pin worth 20 GP. Okay, so that would be an XP right there. Um, so the question is, does I think that the pin is actually on the peasant. That makes sense. And it would be kind of weird for the peasant to be here and for this pin to just be like laying around. So we see what is very clearly a valuable pin, and we kind of want it. Now, while Hrogar may be lawfully aligned, we know we're here to get treasure. I don't think he would be the one that has this. Okay. Wow. Like three lawful, one neutral in terms of our alignments. I mean, even our thief is lawful. I, oh man. Okay. So this person is curious. I think can we just persuade him? Say, hey, we are here, right, gathering items. We have a very interesting pin. Right? Would you be willing, right, to part with it, right, to give it to us potentially? I think this is going to be a fairly hard roll. Let's make it a 15 as our target, and 7 plus 4, Hogar being the one trying to do the convincing. That's an 11. That's going to fail. So, so we try very nicely to convince the peasant to give it to us. He is not so interested. Right, so I'm going to write down here number 10. There's a peasant with a pin there. This would be worth some XP if we can. So I think it makes sense for us to go ahead and depart for another room. For the sake of, I guess, keeping things compact, I'm going to move from here down to here. So implied rooms at this point, we have 10 already labeled, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rooms. We know there are 23 total here. So some of these connections are going to go down to different levels, would be kind of the assumption here. Right. So pulling up the point crawl generator, I'm looking at these different paths. So let's look at this type of path. So if I head south from number 10, that path is a 12. That means it's a secret path. Okay. So we don't actually know that it's there. So I'm going to put an S here, unless we specifically search for it. Um, I mean, at this point, we have a number of other exits we could explore, so I honestly don't think we're going to be searching for it. Let's check the other path. Well, it is also a secret. Okay, so we have these two secret paths, and then we have this one. Is that also a secret path? Four, no, that's just okay. So we see this tunnel heading out, and so it's fairly obvious that we can just take this path out. Notice I lost my timer. Okay, you probably noticed that before I did. Um, Professor, you just rolled your timer. Okay, that's true. But I did spend some time here trying to persuade this peasant. That was an action. So I think we're down to 8. Okay. Right, so this is not a secret path at all. So I think it makes sense we're just going to go back this way. When we get back to that room, room number 6, it's where there were chained skeletons here in this room. Uh, yeah, I think we recognize that we're either in a very similar room or in exactly the same room. Just this was a path. I'm going to say like maybe it came out behind I don't know. Maybe there's a hanging on the wall or something like that that we missed. Right. So this tunnel came out that way. Now, as we move from here, I'm going to move this direction. All right, so let's see what we've got that direction. So first, what kind of link is it? 8 indicates that there is an obstacle here. What kind of obstacle? 17 indicates it's a portcullis, right? So we know that from the descriptions before, this is interesting because, again, I don't know which came first, but this point crawl generator does not describe what a portcullis does at all. It doesn't like tell us whatsoever, which means we have to go back. to the sandbox generator. Okay, so I really think that the sandbox generator is supposed to be kind of your kind of key to everything else, and then you can from that build on build out other stuff. All right, so there's a portcullis here, which we know is going to be heavy, so we're going to have to kind of lift it. So that being the case, there we go. Must be lifted. All right. I don't think this is going to be necessarily particularly hard. Who is our strongest person? Okay, Sage, hilariously enough. Oh, I remember that from last time. Yeah, Sage, our halfling, right, is the strongest one. Now, I think he's going to have help from everybody else, so I'm going to go ahead and roll it with advantage. He gets a +2. And that's an 8. So I'm going to say that's not good enough to open this portcullis. So let's try again. This is taking time, though. Okay, boy, it's a 9. It's not that hard, but I still think a 12 is a reasonable thing for us to require. Right, so we're down to 6 rounds left. Okay, and ah, got to 10, and we're down to 5. Oh my goodness, we're gonna run out of torch here. And there we go. Okay, so we finally managed to open this portcullis. Like, I think we prop it up, being the difficulty involved, and we come into this room, room number 11. So let's find out what type of room this. Oh wait, no. First we have to find links. Right. So what kind of links are there here? 5. That indicates that there are 3 links again. So we're going to roll this. 4, 5, and 7. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So there's apparently another connection back here to room number 7 that we had not noticed. Okay. It happens. That's something where maybe I should make that like a secret or something from the other side. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Some secret from this direction. All right. So we come into room number 11. Well, let's find out what type of room that is. Turn the page. Okay. It's a 3. 3 indicates this is an empty room. What kind of empty room is it? 76. Right, so 76 indicates there's just rubble here. Right, so I'm guessing there are like rocks around and that kind of thing. We're in kind of a natural cave sort of thing. Things are not well carved at all, right? But this one there is an unusual amount of rubble lying around. Does there happen to be treasure here as well? 15% chance. The answer is certainly not. It's a 75. Okay. All right. So we searched that room. Time for us to head into the next one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head south to this one. So what kind of connection do we have here? 6 indicating it's horizontal with no particular barriers or anything. So 12, going into a new room. Flip that over to a 4. All right. In this room, what kind of links do we have? 4. Number 4 indicates that there are 2 links, apart from those that came through. Numbers 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so these are just taking us back to rooms we've already been in. Okay. Then what else do we have? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so we can get 5 more connections. Okay. So this room, what is the nature of this room? 5, it's a monster room. So what kind of monster is here? It's number 4. Let's see, this is room number 12. What do we have in it? Another peasant. Okay, so what is this peasant doing? Okay, I was just making a note about my previous room. The peasant, I said, I wanted to know that they were playing, but when I'm playing with the pin. Oh, peasant with a pin is playing. Ah, there we go. That's getting the right word over English. Okay, next then, what are they doing? 8. 8 indicates that they're building or nesting, so we are here in this room. What kind of thing might they be building? I mean, they could be like working on building a bed or something like that. So I'm guessing this one, the previous one was just playing. I'm guessing it's probably a child. This one is not. This is an adult, right, who is building something. What is their reaction to us? Remember, we get this at a +4 thanks to Rogar. 11. They're also just curious. Okay, now, do they have treasure on them in score? 23 says yes. So let's find out what this treasure is. Going to the treasure table. I need treasure number. I need to actually turn to the treasure table. There we go. It's treasure number 94. Egg of cockatrice. Oh, wow. That sounds interesting. Egg of the cockatrice. There is nothing describing what this is. But except it's in so this is written in italics, so it suggests it is something very unique. It's worth 100 GP. But in the stuff that I have from the quick start, there is no definition of what the egg of the cockatrice would be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to suggest that this is um, that it's really just kind of a gem or something like that, right? So I'm thinking like a Fabergé egg, something like this, right? So I'm thinking that's it. So so it's something that's very ornate and stands out, is the kind of artwork you would actually put a name to, and it is very valuable. Right, so I'm thinking here because we are making okay, so we know we're building something. This is being built as a storeroom, right? So they're building shelves, that kind of thing. So there are a number of trinkets along on these shelves. I'm just gonna make a note of that. Peasant building shelves, and they happen to have this egg of the cockatrice here. So I think it makes sense for us to try to persuade this person to give it to us. So let's try it. Okay, so another this Rogar being our he's a very charismatic half orc. This is again going to be hard, so I think 15 is a reasonable requirement here. Just falls short of it at 14 because he rolled a 10 plus 4, 14. Okay. So we don't have any luck tokens at this point, do we? We do not. Okay. So that's not great because it might be it might be worthwhile for us to, you know, knock this guy out and steal from him. Well, I mean, he's not interested in handing this to us. Right, so I think it makes sense here. What we are going to do, this is room number 12, yes. So I think that we're going to actually move into another room. Let's go back to room number 11 where the rubble is. And then we're going to send in our thief. What's his name? Godfrey. We're going to send Godfrey back in, try to steal this thing. Okay. So I think that makes some degree of sense. Okay. Oh, forgot to count down. 4, I think we're down to 3 now. Okay, so let's send Godfrey back in to try to steal this egg, right? So Godfrey goes in, and trying to steal this egg, that would definitely be a dex thing. Because it is thieving, it means he rolls with advantage. We're not trying to kill this guy. I mean, he's not doing anything wrong, but we're trying to be extremely sneaky. This is going to be hard to do as well, so I think 15 is appropriate. It might even be appropriate to go higher, but I'm going to keep it at 15 just to make it possible because I kind of want to get the. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So rolling with advantage gives us a 15, 19 plus 2, 21. Okay, so awesome. So yes, so Godfrey does manage to sneak in and get that egg. It's the egg of the cockatrice. Is worth 100 GP. Now this one, the question in my mind now is that something that is valuable enough be worth more than just the usual XP. Because typical XP would be, I defined it as a gem, so that would make it normal. Right, so they just gained another experience point, so we're up to two for everybody. That's good. I really want to get them up to a level two soon because if nothing else, I want to get my low HP folks. That would be Ishana the priest and Sage the wizard. I kind of would like to have them be, I don't know, more than one HP. That'd be kind of nice. Oh, Sage could have used sleep on somebody. Noted. Okay. All right. So remember that for the future. All right. So next up, um, We we completed that. We're back in room 11, so I want us to just go ahead and keep exploring. We're not out of torchlight yet, but pretty sure we do have other torches. Yeah, yeah. So we have multiple torches here. Yeah, we have six torches between us at this point. So we're going to go ahead and explore from room 11 over to here, which would make this room number 13. And let's see first what type of connection this is for. Okay, it's just a standard horizontal connection. So in room 13 here, let's hope that's lucky. Okay. First, how many connections do we have? We have three connections. They're 1, 3, and 8. So 1 would be north. So there's a connection there we hadn't noticed. 2, 3. Oh, that's the one we came through. And then 8 would be heading off to the northwest. All right, cool. Now, I really like this connection here that we're aware of, or I hope we're aware of, because that means that we can get out fairly easily from where we are now. So that means I'm not going to have to be rushing too much. Okay, so the exploration here. Oh, we also need to find out what kind of room this is. Six is, I believe, a monster room, if I recall correctly. It is a monster room, right? So what kind of monster? Right, probably another peasant. It is, in fact, another peasant. There are lots of peasants living in the tunnels of doom. It's what it is. What is it doing? Well, it's sleeping. Okay, it's it. All right. So this peasant is sleeping, and I think, I mean, is there treasure nearby? This might be an easy case, right, for us to just snatch something and run away. 73. No, there's no treasure. All right. So here, number 13, there's a peasant sleeping, and that's that. All right. I think it makes sense for us to head to the northwest, assuming that 12, though, is this is a secret. Okay. Well, we know that if we go back, there's another pathway. At least we believe there is. So we didn't actually see that. Right, so we're gonna head back this way. So we're in 13, 11, 6. 6 is where we run out of torchlight. So I think it makes sense for me to stop here. This is not a bad time. Right, so at this point, we have gathered a few things, right? We have that egg of the cockatrice. We have what else did we gather? Oh, the wavy bladed great sword was another thing we got. So that's where our XP are coming from here. Right, so we do have some money coming toward us. Now, naturally, some of that is going to be set aside to be given to the abbot and to uh, the Goblin Lord. But I think we're making pretty good progress through this dungeon. Um, if things keep going like this, by the time we finish this level, we're going to end up with, yeah, something in the neighborhood of 4 experience points. That's not terrible. But then we also know there's another half kind of at this same level of dungeon, so we can head over to that side without too much problem. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Uh, at this point, another thing that I'm noticing is that this side of the dungeon, we're not really hitting a lot of again aggressive, hostile kind of creatures at this point, because they're just a lot of peasants. Which actually, the way that I have things set up, it will be about half the time or so. It's supposed to be a peasant, I believe. Oh, more than that. Yeah, it's 2/3 of the time it's going to be a peasant according to my random encounter table that I built based on the principles in the sandbox generator. Okay. So we will keep fleshing this out uh, in another video. As for now, this is Profi signing off.